You buy the best toys, you provide high-quality food, and you offer regular affection. Yet ethological data suggests that over 90% of cat owners regularly perform subtle habits that trigger their pet's survival instincts. These actions strip away a cat's sense of control over their environment. When a cat loses the ability to predict or influence their territory, it activates a biological stress response that can persist for hours. This mismatch is rooted in how primate psychology and feline biology define safety. Primates bond through eye contact, physical closeness, and corrective discipline. Cats rely on different markers: a stable olfactory map, spatial autonomy, and completing the predatory sequence. To build a secure attachment, we must align our human instincts with these specific biological requirements. The friction in many households, from destructive scratching to hiding, isn't a personality flaw. It is a failure to translate affection into a language the cat's brain can process. Let's start with the sensory environment. Humans prioritize visual aesthetics and pleasant, strong scents to make a home feel welcoming. For a cat, reality is built on scent. Using the Jacobson's organ on the roof of their mouth, they taste pheromones that mark their territory as safe. When we use essential oil diffusers or scented litters, we effectively blind their ability to navigate this chemical map. This quadrant chart evaluates the trade-off of changing environmental factors based on effort and biological impact. Switching to unscented litter is a high-impact, low-effort change. Removing artificial scents prevents avoidance, allowing cats to use sensory markers without irritation. We also see a mismatch in acoustic tolerance. While humans hear up to about 20,000 Hz, a cat's ears are designed to detect the 64,000 Hz frequency of a rodent's heartbeat. Because their hearing is so specialized, the humming of electronics or the slamming of doors can trigger a constant startle reflex. This keeps the cat in a biological fight-or-flight state, which is why cats in loud environments often suffer from chronic stress-induced inflammation. This need for safety extends to physical space. Because cats function as both predators and prey, they require spatial autonomy, the knowledge that they have a retreat where they are invisible and untouchable. A common mistake occurs when a cat is hiding during a social event, and the owner reaches in to pull them out so guests can see them. This is a psychological technique called flooding. By removing the cat's ability to retreat, you confirm their suspicion that the environment is dangerous, making them more likely to hide in the future. When we prioritize human convenience, like scenting the air or forcing socialization, the cat pays the price by losing their baseline sense of security. These biological rules also apply to how we play. We often treat exercise as simple movement, but for a cat, play is a rigid neurological program. This flowchart shows the dopamine-driven sequence required for predatory satisfaction: stalk, chase, pounce, and kill. Laser pointers create a broken sequence. Because the light has no mass or texture, the cat can never reach the kill phase, stuck in a loop of anticipation. The cat displays an intense predatory drive, chasing a light they can never catch. Without the physical conclusion, the dopamine cycle remains open. This unresolved energy leads to behavioral issues. Without the chemical release of the kill, cats often redirect their frustration into obsessive shadow chasing or aggression toward other pets. Physical touch follows similar rules. It is easy to interpret a cat rolling onto their back as a request for a belly rub. While an exposed belly is a sign of trust, touching it triggers an instinctive defensive reflex to protect their vital organs. Their brain is wired to defend against any perceived threat to this vulnerable area. Repetitive stroking on the lower back can also trigger the cutaneous trunky reflex. Because this area is densely packed with nerve endings, the interaction quickly crosses the threshold from pleasant to physically painful. This lack of understanding often leads to the use of punishment. However, cats lack the prefrontal cortex development to link a past action with a current punishment. Spraying water or shouting doesn't teach a cat that scratching the sofa is wrong. It teaches them that the owner is a source of unpredictable aggression, causing them to simply wait until you leave the room to repeat the behavior. When we use uncalibrated play or corrective discipline, we aren't teaching boundaries. We are training the cat to view their owner as a source of chronic stress. To fix these issues, we don't need to change the cat. We need to adjust our habits to match their biology. The Feline Optimization Protocol maps these adjustments to your specific lifestyle, focusing on the biological return on investment for each change. For the time-poor owner, the protocol suggests a 10-second reunion ritual. When you come home and your cat approaches with a raised tail or a small chirp, they are attempting to re-establish the social bond of the colony. A simple acknowledgement here is vital. This brief ritual releases oxytocin and confirms the territory is secure. Skipping it leads to insecure attachment, where the cat performs destructive behaviors purely out of anxiety. For the frustrated optimizer, the key is redirection rather than punishment. By placing a tall, sisal-covered post directly next to the sofa, you provide a biologically appropriate outlet for their scratching instincts. This hacks the cat's brain by rewarding them for using the better object. You solve the behavior problem while actually strengthening the bond of trust. For the beginner, the protocol is simple. Always answer when your cat speaks to you. Cats evolved the meow specifically to communicate with humans. If these vocalizations are ignored, the cat develops learned helplessness, eventually becoming withdrawn or resorting to louder, more disruptive shouting to get their needs met. These changes don't require hours of training. They just require a willingness to stop treating a cat like a small dog and start respecting their unique biological needs. By yielding to feline biology, you remove the primary sources of friction in your home. The result is a psychologically healthy cat and a deeper, more resilient bond.